Many Remans settled on Crateris after the fallout from Shinzan's rebellion. While they were safe from the destruction of Romulus and Remus, Crateris is a bleak world, with little in the way of habitable land. There are ample mineral deposits, which the Remans mine and sell for food and other necessities, but their lives there are harsh and unforgiving. Anyone who could survive on Crateris for as long as the Remans have, has strength. We could use that strength in our search for a homeworld, and I know the Remans have no love for the Tal Shiar. Go to Crateris, talk to the Remans, show them we are sincere and that we need their support.
Crateris isn't much, a harsh home for the Remans, as it sounds, but it's theirs. Back in 2386, 1 year before the Hobus event that scattered the Romulan people, Reman unrest led to Praetor Kulan offering Colonel Xiamek this system for the Reman people, and thousands left Remus to settle here. The planet itself is tidally locked, ensuring that one side remains facing away from the Crateris suns. While being barely hospitable, the rich mines offered ample opportunity for Remans to trade for provisions. Many would still be miners, but this time they'd be digging for themselves, not for the Star Empire. As we arrive though, we see signs that we are a step behind the Tal Shiar.
The Tal Shiar are approaching Crateris, and they've already engaged a group of Reman vessels in orbit. The Remans are sending out a general distress call. We have to help them.
Let's hear them.
Commander Cully, of the Decimus. 20 vessels in pursuit. There has been an unprovoked assault on our colony by Tal Shiar agents. They've attacked our people. We're suffering heavy loss. Please, we need your assistance.
The Decimus is too heavily damaged. They can't respond to our hails. They won't last much longer if we don't help them.
Passing into the shadows of the planet, we engage our cloaking device. 3 Tavaro warbirds are locked in combat with the Reman's patrol ships. Locking onto one of the aggressors, we wait to see the red in their shields before we engage. Our surprise attack works and swings our odds in the Reman's favour.
Either way, we'll follow your attack vector and provide support fire.
A Reman vessel forms up behind us and we make best speed to the next engagement. In the distance we see a singularity core detonate and implode, but we can't tell if it's the Remans or the Tal Shiar. On our way to Commander Key's Decimus, we see a Dale warbird in trouble. We drive off its attacker and then get a good look at the shape that it's in. The Dale is a modernised version of the Dylan class Romulan vessel, which itself is a 23rd century design. This version is darker than the Romulan varieties of this vessel, a trait necessary for its Reman crews who require minimal lighting conditions and find standard illumination uncomfortable. With the ships freed from their engagements, we turn on the Mogai warbird that is harassing Commander Keyes. These Remans have put up a good fight, even with their meagre planetary defences. Then again, this coming from the commander of 2260's Romulan warbird. As before, we're able to release the stored plasma funneled from our weapon systems in a devastating shockwave. At this range, the Mogai ship, with its shields weakened, cannot survive the impact.
The Decimus is nearby and it needs our help. We're losing structural integrity.
The battle may be over, but the Decimus has sustained major damage. With its nacelles burned out and its major hull damage, it's not going anywhere in a hurry, and that's just as well. It'd likely fly apart. We reinforce its structural integrity field with a modified tractor beam to keep them in one piece.
Thank you for your assistance. We're continuing emergency repairs, but most of our major systems are offline. The Tal Shiar sent detachments to the surface, and our colony is not responding to hails. With our transporters down and shuttle bay damaged, I cannot send a security team to investigate. The Tal Shiar have never been so bold.
They are gonna destroy your colony.
How can you be so certain? It doesn't make sense. They've left us alone for years. What would they gain by destroying our home? We keep to ourselves and we do not challenge the Tal Shiar.
With all due respect, we've seen this before. The Tal Shiar destroyed our colony on Virinat without warning. If we don't get your people off Crateris immediately, They'll be defenseless when the invasion force arrives.
Virinat was caught unaware as it had next to no ships in orbit. The Remans have bought themselves some time at least, but this is just before the main bulk of the invasion fleet gets to them.
Invasion force? We aren't in any position to begin an evacuation. The head of our fleet, Obisek, and most of our ships are on maneuvers out of the system. They can't possibly return in time. Until we re-establish communication with the colony, our priority must be to protect the people on the surface. Find Zden. He will help you. He resides near the communication tower on the outskirts of the colony. If we re-establish communication, then we can formulate a plan. Zden is to the northwest, near a force field. If planetary communications are disabled, you'll need his help to bring the transmitter back online. We'll do our best to keep more Tal Shiar from beaming down, but I can't promise we'll be able to stop them.
Crateris' habitats are centred around the twilight circumference of the planet, the horizon painted with a pale glow that remains constant with no day or night cycle. What little vegetation there is also grows here, and this would not be an ideal choice for habitation, but it's the first and only planet that the Remans have had all to themselves. This site was likely chosen as a habitat for its proximity to a water source. Well, I think that's water. Of a sort. Floating around the colony are drone-like creatures that we've seen before, back on Virinat. These fungal biotech machines had disturbed the local cattle and are among the first signs of our planet's impending doom. That wasn't as cathartic as I'd hoped.
What are those things? They don't look Romulan to me.
Ah, yes, Sartre joined us after Virinat, so this is the first time she's seen these probes. Downhill we see two agents over a dead Reman. We overhear that they're looking for some codes. And on seeing us, they attempt to meet us with the same deadly force. Try as we might, this Reman is already gone. Moving across the marshy ground, a giant force field rests in the mountainside, and I think I know why the Tal Shiar are looking for some codes now. We engage some more of these strange probes, and they drop easily enough. Even if they aren't hostile, I don't want them behind us as we advance. We reach a vantage point to examine the barrier, and we can see some more soldiers standing guard outside it. There only appears to be the two of them, so we make our strike. Looks like they were questioning this Reman.
Thank you, stranger. I don't understand why this is happening. You're obviously not with the Tal Shiar. Why are you here? What do you want?
Commander Kai said he couldn't establish contact on the ground, so we introduce ourselves to this perceptive Reman.
Commander Kai. Good. Follow me and then explain what's going on. We should get inside the security field before more Tal Shiar arrive.
Lead on, we're right behind you.
Follow me.
Looks like the barrier will let us through now. Alright then. We follow this individual into the cavern's maw, a loading bay of sorts I'd guess, with its containers and ample flat spaces. Here and there violet lamps provide soft illumination. A young Reman girl runs out from behind these containers to greet her father.
We need to know more. It's clear that our colony is under attack, but why are the Tal Shiar doing this? Why attack Crateris? What are they after?
It bears all the hallmarks of a full-on invasion. We've seen this before.
There's no reason for the Tal Shiar to attack Crateris. We've been an established colony for over 23 years. We were given permission to settle here by Donatra. Why would the Tal Shiar attack a colony of their own people?
Well, for starters, Donatra's missing, Praetor Kulan is dead, plus I'm from Virinat, and, well, there's no longer a Virinat.
So the rumors are true! I told you, Father. The Tal Shiar have declared war on our people. They're going to kill us!
Actually, a great number of us were kidnapped and abducted.
It doesn't make any sense. We aren't a threat to the Tal Shiar. What do they have to gain? They can't do this without anyone noticing.
Yeah, I don't think the Tal Shiar care. I mean, who's left to stop them? We can discuss motives later. We need to evacuate.
Evacuate? We must inform the council. Who is going to listen to my order to evacuate? Obasek isn't here. He left Kai in charge. Why doesn't he give the order to evacuate?
You think I'd be here if he could already contact you? The Tal Shiar have blocked communications.
That explains a lot. When we couldn't reach anyone, Slamek said he was going to check on the transmitter. He hasn't come back yet. We should find him and see if we can get communications back online.
Slamek. We'll get to him in a minute. Is there any other way to establish communication with the colonists?
Without the transmitter, we'll have to start contacting colonists individually. The word will spread, but it will take some time. Obviously something is going on, but I'm not the one to order an evacuation. The fleet or the council should make that determination.
Oh, it's like the destruction of Romulus all over again. Look, you start contacting people, we'll save the day.
You'll need help. If you're going out to the transmitter, I'm going with you. Maybe we can find Slamek there.
Good idea, you know the terrain better than we do.
Farrell, you should stay here. Let these people handle this. We don't know the whole story yet. We need more information. We need to know what the Tal Shiar want. At least stay behind the security field until we hear from the council.
Yeah, time is a factor here, guys.
Father, you can see what the Tal Shiar have done. These people need my help to get the transmitter working again. We'll take some weapons and armor before we leave. Don't worry, I can handle myself.
We hoof it across the sparse and dusty surface to a likely-looking installation with a satellite dish on top of it. Approaching its base, we can see through our scopes more of these drones. These ones, however, are hostile. During the skirmish, a drone jumps Verial, but she's able to shake it off. Good, I'd hate to lose her this early. Cowering behind the relay, a shadowy figure emerges.
Slamek, you're alive.
We approach the scrawny, shaken-looking Reman and check in on him.
Farrell, you found me before those things did. I tried to repair the transmitter, but it was pointless. As you can see, the controls are completely destroyed. But it looks like you found some new friends.
Yes, we're all happy friends. Can you get the transmitter working?
Didn't you hear me? The controls are destroyed. The transmitter is worthless.
Yes, I heard you.
Slamek, you're not helping. What if we set up a bypass relay? If it works, we might be able to control the transmitter dish from Seden's shuttle, or even our secondary console at home.
We also have my scanner.
It's possible, but I don't think it would work.
Well, we need to do something.
Slamek! Try to set up a bypass relay for the controls. If you can get it working, then we'll head back to my father and see if we can access the transmitter from there.
And with that, Slamek slouches over to the controls to begin to tinker, and as if on cue, more of these saboteur drones begin to scurry towards us, perhaps sensing the attempt to restore communications, and it's up to us to protect Slamek, allowing him to work.
Where are those things coming from?
And with the weapons fire, an explosion to our right grabbed our attention. Smoke billowing from the console, Slamek runs over.
I told you it probably wouldn't work.
We'll try anyway. Terrell to Commander K.
We should go back to my father and see if he's heard any news.
Hold on, he might pick up. Alright, maybe it didn't work.
Look up! We gotta get out of here now!
Oh, what?
What kind of ship is that?
A familiar sight looming overhead, a strange angular ship appearing with little warning.
We don't know. It attacked our colony on Virinat.
And now they're attacking here. We need to warn other colonies.
We're quickly running out of time. If we don't stop this, the same thing that's going to happen here has happened on Virinat.
Believe it or not, that's what we're trying to do.
There's a moment of stillness in the air before the attack begins. That blast hit the force field just as a giant walking drone drops to the surface.
Watch where you're shooting. We need those shuttles.
We're gonna need a new plan.
More of the smaller probes also emerge from the woodwork and begin to attack. All around us, explosions go off as the ship targets the shuttles, preventing our escape. Commander K must have been overwhelmed in orbit. The Tal Shiar are beaming down probes and agents in force. We reach the loading bay to find the force field gone and fires inside. The ship's torpedo strike must have been too much for it. We see Zidane along with some more of the Remans fighting off the advancing Tal Shiar. Smoke begins to billow from the buildings as towering drones raise the surrounding structures, while the dark vessel sits overhead, implacable and impassive.
Were you able to repair the primary transmitter? I set up a portable transmitter relay and gathered as many neighbors as I could. I'm glad you found Slamek.
Yeah, well, we've run out of time. How's that evacuation coming?
I'm not going to argue. Our security field is down and the Tal Shiar are attacking the colony. Hopefully everyone who hasn't already heard the message will realize what's happening and evacuate. There are more people on the outskirts of town. If I can get to them in the shuttle, I may be able to get them to safety.
There's only a couple of shuttles left undamaged. We'll beam who we can out now.
Understood. Please take Farrell with you. I'll take Slamek with me to help scan for survivors.
We'll rendezvous back in orbit.
Father, I should go with you. It took me weeks to repair the shuttle's drive system. If something goes wrong, you'll need me there.
You'll be safer on their ship. Slamek can help me if we run into trouble. I'll broadcast the coordinates to every shuttle within range once we're in the air. Now go. We need to look for survivors.
Veril and a handful of non-combatant Remans beam to our Era in orbit, and we move to secure the remaining shuttles while Zidane and Slamek stay behind. As we approach the remaining craft, a whining buzz fills the air. The larger assault drones join the fray as one swoops in above us, peppering us with shots. If they're here, then the ones that snatch away people can't be far behind. A member of our crew calls down to inform us that the Remans have successfully beamed aboard, and that they could use our help on our ship. There's nothing more we can do here, so we beam out.
The Decimus has engaged the Tal Shiar and is forming a wedge so we can get the shuttles to the beacon. The shuttles will be relying on us for protection. Without our help, they'll never make it out of here. Zidane's shuttle was one of the ones that made it to the ship. He's hailing us.
Open a channel.
We're in position and ready to make a run for the beacon. Is my daughter safe?
She's here, Zidane.
I'm making myself useful. The singularity core on this ship is practically an antique. I'm keeping an eye on the power levels to make sure we don't blow apart in combat. Don't forget to put all the shuttle's power into the shields.
Don't worry, my child. It was the first thing Slamek did. When we reach the beacon, we'll await the signal to warp to the rendezvous point. Once we're all safe, you can transfer back to the shuttle.
It's our job to get the shuttles clear of the asteroid field that orbits Crateris into a safe distance. A small fleet of ships shadow our course, and for once we cannot engage our cloak. To do so would remove us as a target, and we need to protect these vulnerable little craft. Ahead a battle rages, and our course takes us through it. Following the Decimus' lead, we target the Tal Shiar vessel to punch a hole in their lines. Bringing the area around, we see that some smaller ships have flanked us and are approaching the shuttle convoy, so we engage them as the priority.
Only a few enemy warbirds remain. Protect the shuttles.
We reach the fringes of the asteroid field with a meagre amount of craft in tow. A strange vessel sits at the edge of the system, observing but not engaging us, so we focus on the threat of the Tal Shiar warbirds. The final Tal Shiar vessel crumples under our fire.
Blockade. All ships fall into formation.
We reach the rendezvous point and find our shuttles with company.
We're reading an unknown ship near the beacon. It appears to be a battleship. If it attacks, our ships will be completely outmatched. Are you able to scan the vessel or determine its armaments?
No, but the design's familiar. I think we've encountered them before.
They're emitting some sort of passive scanning field. We cannot get a weapons lock, and our singularity core power levels are fluctuating.
I'm noticing the same power level variations. The field is definitely emanating from the enemy vessel. If I tap into the beacon's controls, I may be able to send a high-frequency proton burst that should disrupt the field long enough to get a weapons lock.
Alright, so if we break its scattering field, we might be able to hit it. Fire away.
Sending proton burst.
The burst works, but before we can even target the vessel, it simply vanishes. It reappears to our port. Zidane signal was cut off. That mysterious ship emitted some form of targeting beam from the front after jumping, and I'm not sure what it does, but I don't want to get caught in it. We outnumber the vessel for now, and now that it's targetable, all Reman forces engage. The alien ship uses strange weaponry that travels in waves alongside identifiable beam weapons. Fortunately, whatever tricks up its sleeve it has, it doesn't get to employ them, as the combined might of the Reman Armada proves too much for it. Judging by that explosion, it's not got a singularity core, which means it's probably not Tal Shiar. There's no time to savour our victory. Tal Shiar could be here any minute. We need to house the den. What the?
I've scanned the shuttles, sir. They've taken everyone. Everyone. Even my...
Wait, when? How? Did we miss something?
Logs show that a cruiser warped in during the fight with the battleship, stayed at long range, and then decloaked briefly. They warped away less than a minute later. They must have taken the colonists from the shuttles while we were in combat.
I'm sorry, everyone. For real.
We have to go after them. We need to track their trajectory and follow them. They could still be alive, and we can catch up if we hurry.
Is that an option? Toven, do we have their heading?
Nothing. There was too much interference from the battleship. I wish I had better news, but we have more pressing matters. The Decimus is hailing us, and we need to get out of this system while we still can.
On screen.
We're aware of the situation, but we have set a course for the rendezvous point immediately. There are other Remans there who will need our protection. After we regroup, we will have time to fully understand what has happened here, and to mourn our losses.
You could always rendezvous with us, join Titan's fleet.
We appreciate the offer, but that isn't my call to make. I'll relay your offer to Obisek and the rest of the fleet. But for now, I think it would be best if we go our separate ways. When we understand more about what the Tal Shiar are after, perhaps that will change. Thank you for your help. I know you tried your best.
Our best doesn't cut it twice. Good luck, Commander.
I don't need anyone's permission. I'm coming with you, and we're going to find my father. In the meantime, if you expect to keep a ship this old from blowing apart at the seams, you're going to need an engineer. Good thing I'm here.
I think we've done everything we can here. We should report what happened to Tamer. We can leave whenever you're ready.
We will reach out to the Remans, but it will be difficult to get over centuries of mistrust and abuse. Perhaps if this Obisek is willing to speak to us directly, it might make a difference. I know you did your best to help them, and that the attack could not have been anticipated. I'm very concerned about this sabotage you reported, however, and that the culprit was never found. The Remans may very well have a Tal Shiar operative in their midst. We will not win every battle, but we will win the war. Count on that. Jolantru.
Of all the things to focus on, I'm surprised Commander Temer looked at the sabotage of the communications relay. It's a detail that I thought irrelevant at the time, but maybe there really is a Tal Shiar operative among the Remans. If so, we can't let our defeat here today distract us. We lost most of the Reman evacuees to the Tal Shiar. They knew we'd jump at the chance to try to investigate this mysterious vessel that showed up at Virinat and Crateris, and they used that to distract us while they abducted the occupants of the shuttlecraft. We learn what happened to the abducted civilians, like Slamek, in a previous episode of the story series, where Captain Mark Hale of the USS Armiger encounters them at Installation 18 on Nimbus 3. Slamek himself is then encountered later when we are stranded on a Romulan planet and are forced to fight in an arena. Together we escape, but it turns out that Slamek is in fact an agent for Akiv, the head of the Tal Shiar. Although it is mentioned that Slamek suffered intense indoctrination and brainwashing at Installation 18, so he may have been transformed into a sleeper agent after this event. However, Crateris takes place a long time before these events, so the spy, if there is one, may be someone else. Nevertheless, we'll have to address this at a later date. In the meantime, we've failed to secure Reman help, but maybe we can still go ahead and forge an alliance with Obisek, the Reman military leader. In the short term, however, we're still starved for manpower and help, so I hope you all join me for the next part of our ever-expanding narrative of the Star Trek Online story series, as we continue to build a new Romulus. Until then, thanks for watching, and Jolantru.